Good morning. It is Brian. It's good morning somewhere, right here, actually. It is Brian here. It is the Art of Startup War. This is the Expert Dojo Media Show where we bring in entrepreneurs that we absolutely love. As you know, we are an investor, and that means that all companies that we're speaking to, we have either invested in or we are just about to invest in because we believe this company is going to be the future of the industry that it's in. Our people scour the world looking for the entrepreneurs and the companies that are breaking through in a huge way. And this company that we're going to speak to today is absolutely fascinating because it's dealing with a part of what's happened over the pandemic, which is heartbreaking. They are the people that we love the most. They are our restaurateurs, the folks that feed us, that make sure that we're happy and we're fatty and we're just making good life. And they have done for years and years and years. And what's happened really over the last 2 years, definitely, and even way before that, is they've been decimated. The pandemic has killed them. But even before the pandemic, they were having so much difficulties hitting the margins. Like literally, it's the one industry that we want to thrive and survive. And it's the one industry which is going through a terrible time. And many of these softwares that have come out on the market, and I'm saying this, not Randy, but like whether it's the Uber Eats or anybody else, they don't help them. They take huge margins out of what they do. They retain all of the customer information, and the restaurants just get allowed to survive for 1 or 2 more days. So I had been looking for a innovational software which was industry leading, not even changing, that would take it to the next level, that would allow for restaurateurs to be able to build a model that was going to be safe for them going forward and help them build great companies. And when I saw FourBurner Tech, it was like that multiplied by 100. So I want to bring Randy in. We're going to find out all about how restaurants are going to digitalize, how they're going to evolutionize, and how they're going to get to the very next level. And they're going to do it through FourBurner Tech and what Randy has built. So Randy, welcome to the show, buddy. Obviously, I know you really well, but I love that we have the opportunity to talk about how we can make this world just a lot better for these folks.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Great seeing you. Good to be here.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the genesis of FourBurner Tech, where it came from. Obviously, I don't think it was difficult for any of us to realize that the world of restaurateurs has become way more difficult. But when was it that you hit the moment where you thought, oh, I can fix this and I will do it?
Yeah, it first started. So I was in high tech for my first career, about 15 years, and then I inexplicably got into the restaurant business. That's a really big move, a lot of tough work. But after about 12 years in the restaurant business, we had a restaurant company that had 3 brands. We had about 40 locations, and we started trying to put brands together. And that was kind of the first idea of FourBurner, because to co-locate a pizza company with one of our Asian companies, we literally had to have 2 full tech stacks in the same 4 walls. And so we're like, we got to create something that allows brands to correlate together and cohabitate together. Well, then the pandemic hit, and this was on the peak of some of the what we call the third-party delivery marketplaces. And at first, those were great, bringing in a lot of revenue, but that revenue wasn't very profitable. And as you mentioned, we don't get the customer information, so it's going to crack, right? The first stuff's free, you can't get off it. That revenue keeps going, but you lose your customer base over time. And so really, it was a combination of 2 issues. So number one, the ability to run multiple brands in one space, and that's important because it's so hard to run and get the right revenue with just one brand, right? You got to really push that one brand. But if you have 2 brands, now you're leveraging that 4-wall space, right? So much better use of the asset. Number 2, how do you get some sort of money back from this delivery marketplace? It's kind of like a brother-in-law. You got to have one, but you may not like it, right? And so how do you make that brother-in-law a little bit better? And that was the second thing. And the third thing, there just wasn't really a very good best of breed ordering system. And so that was the genesis of, hey, look, I'm going to get back out of the restaurant space operating and get back into technology. We had the idea of FourBurner. And really now we've got kind of 2 SaaS products that our whole goal is to save money for restaurants. And we do it in 2 main ways.
But very complicated to build. The solution, very simple for restaurateurs. Own your customers, help them be able to get your product on whatever platform that they need in an incredibly simple way, and streamline your services. But to actually build that on the back end, very difficult. How did you pull together the team to do it?
Yeah, so having experience in software before I got to the restaurant business, that number one, that was the key because I really kind of knew what technology we needed. I knew the kind of people that I wanted to bring on. My background wasn't in SaaS technology. I mean, I'm 50, and so it was more client server applications and pre-web type stuff. And so I got one of my operating partners is a SaaS expert on the technology side. Got a great, a very good deep technology leader on the code side, and then my COO has done everything from leading business units at Procter and Gamble at the biggest, all the way down to the smallest of leading startups in the security and technology space. And he had a couple of stops in between as chief marketing officer for the Tampa Bay Bucks and things like that. And so really had a good core of people. And I wanted to build a team of people that, number one, understood the problem and understood the industry. We understand restaurants, logistics, and technology very well. But number two, we're able to, it's an enterprise application. So we're not selling out to just individual restaurants as much as we're selling to restaurants that want or need, really not want, need additional revenue in their existing investment. That's the first product we have, called Order Before. The second product we have, called Deliver Before, is all about saving money for every marketplace delivery that you're already doing. So I needed a team to help A, create that vision, and B, once we had it, to sell it into larger companies. And so that's kind of where we started from the team.
And how did you build that team? How did you convince those people to come on board? Because the mission is huge, right? So that helps.
Yeah.
When you can talk about, even how I introduced the interview at the start, it is not a person here is going to say, "Oh, I don't think they deserve the help." And if there is, you're a bad person. You should go to another podcast. So everybody's going to agree with it, and the same with yourself. But you're not building a small. Even the titles and the experience of the people that you're talking about, these are major people. You actually have really you've nailed a concept which is so difficult to do. And I always think it, which is think like a startup, but act like a corporation on the first day. And everybody's like, yeah, Brian, that sounds great, but I can't do that because it's too difficult. I can't convince people to come on board. I can't pay people. But you somehow did it. You convinced them to come in to an early stage startup that you were going to fund yourself, which is the ultimate commitment to a company, while you were getting the product to the level that you knew it could get to, but you convinced them. How did you do it, and how did they react?
Well, it's an amazing amount of things you can do at gunpoint, Brian. And no, I'm kidding. And so, a lot of it was really the vision and the passion, and my passion of just feeling it and seeing it. In the restaurant space, it is a brotherhood like you can't imagine. And even from a competitive standpoint, there is something about the restaurant space. If you were a restaurateur, I would literally tell you everything I do to make money, because it's so difficult that everyone, this social democracy of people just trying to stay together and live another day. And so that passion really, really kind of shot through to not only my tech leader, but my SaaS leader and my business guy, my COO. And I think part of it too is they see it, they hear it. This is not a satellite in space. This is not a biomed company that you never ever interact with unless it happens to you. This is something that people deal with every single day. These are things that most people eat half their meals outside the home, and everyone has their core of restaurants, whether they're local chains or national chains, that really help feed their family. And so I think appealing from that was the first part. But then I think them realizing and seeing the issue at hand, and the issue at hand is restaurants can't make money. And more importantly, the people that are in the restaurant space today, they have no exit. They can't really. They're stuck. They're stuck doing the same thing they always can do. And our goal is to really try to help and change that. And it's not about going and putting up new restaurants. It's in a way, it's a lot of like the Uber model of, hey, look, we've got hundreds of thousands of commercial restaurants or commercial kitchens that are underutilized. How do we get them, number one, more revenue without impacting their existing operations? Because you can't, the drug can't kill the patient, right? The treatment can't kill the patient. You can't kill the existing revenue, just try to get someone new revenue. So number one, how do we get them more revenue without impacting? But then number two, with what they have to do, which is deal with the marketplaces, how do we how do we save them money each time they do that? And that was the national delivery fleet partnership that we made with Skipcart. And so now we're creating more revenue for an existing, a sunk capital asset that they can't get out of. But then number two, what they have to do every day, bring them more money. And I think that really turned on lights for them, because this isn't a small market. It's a $900 billion space. It's moving so fast. It's dark kitchens, ghost kitchens, virtual brands, all this stuff, and everything's starting to kind of settle out now. But they all got the vision very quickly. They saw what we felt. They saw the need in the marketplace. There wasn't anybody really solving that need, and I think that really helped tell the story for them to not only come on board, but they've all personally invested in this startup as well. And I think that says a lot to what they believe we can do.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually. It's not that nobody was solving the problem, it's that nobody was solving the problem for them.
That's
Lo-
exactly. That's a
Lots
very well put.
of
Because a lot of people were making money, just not them.
there's a ton of folks making money. Like, so many people are like, there's a huge problem in the restaurant space. We need to fix that. Yeah, I kind of think you just fixed it for you. I think you created
Yeah.
a solution. It's like Amazon creating a marketplace for people to be able to sell products all over the world. It's like, I'm pretty sure Amazon, you created a marketplace so you guys could make a ton of money copying other people's products and then making sure that the people who are on your platform would never, ever, ever be able to get off the drug. And it's okay, but we should just be honest about that, right? Nobody created a platform to help those people help themselves. And you've looked at this. It's exactly the same in restaurants, and you've come in from the position of the restaurateur. And I think this is also why you've had such a huge positive reaction coming behind you, because every question must be, oh, okay, I get it, but where's the catch? Like, where's the piece where we lose everything? Because I've only read to page 77, but I'm sure at the end of the book I lose everything, right? There's a moment where you take the restaurant or somebody else does, because there's so much mistrust in the business and in the space, that when people come in with just pure technologies to support them and to help them and help them evolve, they don't even believe it's true.
Not only do they not believe it's true, it's such a difficult business in itself to run that um, they don't even have time to stop and kind of figure out the right solution. So it's very tactical and non-strategic movements, and I just don't know of an industry that's been impacted as much as restaurants. I mean, so even pre-pandemic, you had the delivery marketplaces that were taking a lot of the profits, or all the profits. I mean, they're taking 30% on a 12 to 15% margin business from operators, and you have no choice but to deal business with them. But God, just think what they've been through the last 3 years. First, you've got a pandemic where all traffic stops, and then now you can't come in without a mask, and now you've got all these different costs associated with hygiene that you didn't have before, and then it's only takeout and delivery, and now you're paying for 6,000 square feet, you're only using 1,000, and then of course you get now a labor shortage. Okay,
No,
well
I
now
was
you
going to
can't
say,
even.
yeah, the Great
Oh my gosh,
Resignation
right?
is like, are you kidding me right now? Which is the
National national labor shortage, and now they're dealing with gas prices, which now at least their cost of goods wasn't bad the last 2 years. Now the cost of goods is off the charts. And I still talk to my friends that are operating, and I don't know how they're doing it, because it was brutal before any of this ever happened. And now
yeah.
it's extraordinarily impossible to operate. And that's why our whole goal is, hey, look, revenue cures all, margin cures all. How do we get you in a space to allow you to make more revenue? Traditionally in our industry, if you've got $1 million restaurant, let's say your whole goal is, I want to increase top line by 2% every year, 2% same store sales. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I got to spend 20 or 30,000 local store marketing and flyers and discounts and all that just to get that little 2%. That's so disrupted now. That's impossible to get. But if you bring in another brand, right, and sell it out the back door online and using technology like ours, and not mess up what got you there, whatever your storefront brand is, now you got a chance of bringing 5, 10, 15% more revenue, leveraging that same very small employee base, because you can't even grow your employee base, even no matter what you pay them. And now you maybe you're a breakfast place that now can do late night dinner because you're selling tacos. Maybe you're a late night place, well, now you're serving breakfast, and getting more turns out of that fixed asset and getting more turns out of that variable workforce. And so and until now, that technology just didn't exist, and it's not that point of sales haven't been around forever. they're dinosaurs, and to get them to change with this super rapidly changing market to help restaurants actually stay alive, they're light years behind. So that was kind of the opportunity, and everyone's passionate about it because it's something that, we're not really direct to consumer, but everyone we touch, they are direct to consumer, and that's one thing we all have in common is we all eat, and if you don't, I don't know if I trust you. So, but
Right.
yeah, so it's a interesting business.
It's powerful. And I want to get attraction in a second and how the restaurants have welcomed you in. But I also do want to underline a statement that you said here. Like it is only laughable because it's so ridiculous how many tough things have hit the space. Like it almost seems like it's a comedy movie that you can't, you're like, really, like a labor shortage, and the labor shortage is actually hitting like the jobs that used to be restaurants and other places whereby they were plentiful and folks liked that and they would do it leaving school, and now kids leaving school don't even want that. Like it's just everything has happened at the same time. So investors who are listening, which is the main majority of people that are listening to these podcasts, because they want to hear our view on companies that we're investing in, like you all need to understand, like this is something that affects you. These are your restaurants. These are the places that you go for your Sunday. They're the things that comprise of all of the happy memories of your life as you grow up and as your kids grow up. And these restaurants, the great ones, they won't survive if we continue to allow them down the road of being taken advantage of by sharkish type technologies, which force them into a corner. So when FourBurner Tech came through, I kind of saw it on two or three levels. I saw number one, unbelievable team. Like it is the personification of think like a startup, but act like a $1 billion corporation. Their team are the exact same team that you would expect in a company that is valued in excess of $1 billion, bar nobody, right? Number two, the product itself and the ability to make money, it's a frictionless innovation. I love that. There's nobody's going to fight this product. The restaurateurs are never going to fight this product because they need it, right? The folks that are in the industry, the POS systems, everybody, they're not going to fight this product because it helps the restaurant make more money, which means everybody makes more money around it. And the consumers are not going
And
to
stay
fight
in
this product
business. Yeah.
because they want the restaurants to be strong. They don't want them to just survive. They want them to do really well. So I love frictionless innovation over disruption because it is a lower cost of customer acquisition. So I went through all of that before I even got to the social justice piece. But this isn't even do good in the community. Like, this is just, come on, we have got to give these guys a break. And this technology does exactly that. So I love what you've brought in here, and I want to underline it to all investors who are listening to this. By investing in this company, you're investing in a company that's protecting the thing that's probably most dear to us of all of the public services that we get involved with in our local cities. Okay. Now, let's go to how they reacted to it. You brought it out. So you built it. It was not easy to build, right? You spent a ton of money on getting it ready because you had to have the right developers. You had to have the right technology. So speak to us a little bit about how you brought it to market, the initial tests that you did with the market, which were limited because you wanted to make sure it was done properly. And then how that's now evolved to individual contracts that you've started to build with the chains and what that looks like.
Yeah, that's a really great story. So of course, we started this company and started building our MVP. I mean, literally, I think it was the same month of when COVID shut everything down, right? And so February of 2020, we when you're creating a SaaS platform like this, it's not, you literally don't just get in a garage and start coding, right? You don't want to go buy something, and you don't want to go just throw a huge amount of money with a team before you actually have something. So right now it's just a concept, just an idea. So we first our team outsourced the development group, for the exception of our lead technology person, and with a world-class UI company that's based here in Austin, Texas, but they're international, to build what we call our MVP, our minimum viable product. And because we wanted to get it out, and when we originally took about 8 months, and we invested about $1.2 million to build the framework. And the framework, just high level, is there's a multi-brand ordering, consumer facing ordering piece. So that's the B2C side. There is the order execution piece. So out now orders have come into the location, and you have a kitchen display and training and just-in-time stuff that you need in packaging. And then there's the interface section that goes off to the delivery side, and there's a bunch of reporting. So there's three main modules, but there's a lot of technology underneath all that. And that took about 8 months to build. We really focused at first on ghost kitchens and virtual brands. But 2 years ago when we first, well, a year and a half now that we first launched, there wasn't a whole lot of those out there just yet. So we kind of practiced on restaurants, just individual restaurants that didn't necessarily need all of that framework, but at least allowed us to kind of get the mud through the pipes and get everything tested and really figure out what is needed in the industry. And at that time, when we started doing this would be late 21. Or early 2021, we started getting a lot of inbound requests from ghost kitchens. Now, ghost kitchens are different than a restaurant. A ghost kitchen would be a facility that has one or multiple bays of kitchens that are selling food online. And there's so many different flavors of ghost kitchens. But a year and a half ago, people really weren't sure, is the future ghost kitchens, so people getting rid of these big locations and going and sharing co-locating spaces, or is it virtual brands? And knowing what we know now, we think the future is virtual brands. And so we kind of learned about ghost kitchens and learned about that operating model, but that's a really different operating model and a very difficult one, because empirically a ghost kitchen doesn't make a lot of sense, especially if I was a large capital guy. I'm not putting a lot of money in ghost kitchens, because the idea of a ghost kitchen is, hey, look, I'm going to go build a facility or redo a facility that's not costly real estate. So that means you're out of the density. And now I'm going to create a bunch of food and I'm going to deliver it to the density. Well, the problem is that's not really efficient for delivery. So now I'm outside of the delivery. So that whole model is really struggling right now to try to figure out how to make money. We have really focused more on virtual brands, and really what that is there's over 100,000 commercial kitchens in restaurants, and even if you count schools and churches and all these things that can actually create and deliver food, those assets exist. You don't need 50 million from someone in Silicon Valley to build a virtual brand using an existing kitchen. If I have a chicken chain, I should be selling salads or burritos or whatever out the back door. All you need is software to make that happen. The marketplaces are already there. You just need the coordination software. And what you don't want to do is intersect with the existing point of sale and the existing storefront brand. And so that's kind of really where we merged to. And after we got 10 or 12 enterprise ghost kitchen customers, are all different types. There's ghost kitchen owners that know nothing about operations. It's a real estate play. And then there's ghost kitchen owners that know a little bit about operations, but they still rent out the spaces to other people. Then there's people that they're completely vertically integrated, meaning they own the building, they own the brands, they hire the people, and it's completely, lockstep. But they're all still a question mark of, is this really the future of the business? We don't think it is. We think there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of restaurants out there that have a ton of capacity. They're not anywhere near the revenue they need to be doing. All they need is just another sub menu that they can sell online and get out the door, and it can't interface with their existing point of sale. And so that's really where our navigation has gone, and now we're talking to chains above 50, and we've got some really big ones that we're hoping to announce here in the next couple of weeks. So we partner with virtual brands that want to go into casual diners, big restaurants, even small mom and pop restaurants that have capacity, they want more revenue. And so that's one part of that. And as we've gone through, one of our partners that we send delivery orders to, because we're the software, we're not the people actually doing the driving, but a very close one of our largest investors are the founders of a company called Skipcart. They're the largest national door-to-door less than 1 hour delivery company in the United States. Together we came up with this idea of, hey, look, there's almost 3 billion marketplace deliveries last year in the restaurant space. And they allow you to use, you can save money in the marketplace if you agree to deliver yourself. Well, no one can deliver themselves. So we've created a product that really funnels those delivery orders from the marketplaces, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, to Skipcart. And on average, if you're an operator, you save that $3 per order. That doesn't seem
Nice.
like a lot. That's about 12 to 15,000 bottom line cash, and nothing changes for the operator. And so we were doing some math on this, and this is the craziest thing, Brian. We, based on the math of 3 billion industry deliveries in the industry last year, we literally can. It's like a Robin Hood effect. They're making a ton of money. Their operators aren't. If we were to roll out Deliver Before, that's the product with Skipcart,
Mm.
powered by Skipcart. If we were to move those 3 billion deliveries from the marketplaces and just have it delivered through us and through Skipcart, literally $6 billion would be more than 6 billion, almost 7 billion, would literally be transferred back to the operators. I mean, it's completely Robin Hood, and they allow it to happen. And so we want to utilize what the marketplace people, they don't want to deliver if they don't have to. They want really just the SaaS order. Well, let us help deliver it. We get it at a lower cost, and we can save a lot of money to these operators. It's in the kind of the Robin Hood vein. And so we've got two products that both do the same thing. It's, hey, we got to save money to stay in business, and one is more top line driven, the other is bottom line driven, but they both come up with the same
Yeah.
result. And if we put them together, then we're doing all the delivery for our customers, and they save a ton of money. So that's kind of the
That's what I
beauty
was
of the
going to
Robin Hood
say.
model.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Like one hand absolutely washes the other. And really what the restaurants are, number one, looking to make sure that they have a maximum way of being able to bring in the right amount of money, extra revenue, without it killing the existing business, like something whereby they work together. But the other thing is they want the simplicity of not having to work out 20 different new types of logistics to make it happen. So the fact that you pull it all together is great. So you've told us about the initial traction. How much are you raising right now? You've already raised a lot of money. So you're in good shape. Like this is a company, whenever we're looking at companies in Expert Dojo, just again, this is for investors who are listening through, we will look at the strength of the team, obviously incredibly strong here. We will look at the strength of the amount of investment that's already put into the company, which is extremely strong here. We've had a really good level of millions of dollars, which has been invested already into the company by extremely committed investors who are very knowledgeable of the space. And that was to get the product to the market so it could be ready. Now, the next stage is now to take it into the stratosphere. So what does that look like? How much are you raising? And we don't need to go into valuations because that would be something that will be discussed afterwards, but I'll discuss between you and the people. But like at this stage, what have we got? What's soft circled? What hard circled? I know you're doing great right now and you've got a ton of super conversations going on.
Absolutely. So today we've raised a little over 4.5 million to get the product to market, or both products to market.
Mhm.
So we've really utilized the capital that we have very, very well from that standpoint. We're raising about another $1 million in a convertible that gets us to our Series A. The Series A will be somewhere between 6 to 7 million later this year. And that really is what we believe is the last capital we'll need, because now that the product is developed to a point, we're in a market where it's a crowded overall market in food tech, but it's a very uncrowded space in being able to operate virtual brands and save money in the marketplaces. There's literally no one doing that right now. And so we want to get a pretty fast aggressive take of both of those markets, and really you're selling both of those into the same enterprise account. So it's a beautiful model from that standpoint. We want to use that 6 to 7 million of Series A to, more than half of that's going directly into sales and marketing efforts to take as much of the space as possible. And then the existing convertible then converts into that Series A. We've raised about $1.3 million on the existing convertible. We'll put about another $1 million to that. That gives us the 6 to 7 month runway as we have the Series A is kind of coming together now. But obviously from a bridge from the seed until the Series A, that's the convertible round that we're doing.
I love it. So it's really just 20% left on the round of 5 million, which was being raised initially and has been raised on convertibles to take it to that level. And I love the
That's right.
fact even when you say something like, we don't believe that we'll need more beyond it. And it's not because the company's going to slow down. The opposite. The company will speed up, but the
That's right.
profitability that is possible here sets them aside. Look at the market right now. It is a bloodbath, but it's not a bloodbath because of inflation. It's not a bloodbath because investors have suddenly said, oh my gosh, I don't think we want to make money from the public markets. It's a bloodbath because the companies that are there are not valued at the right level. They are way overvalued based on the fact that they don't have enough EBITDA, they don't have enough revenue growth, and they don't have enough traction, which is built into their model. It's all based on the money that they've raised before. So if you look at what FourBurner Tech are doing, they're not just de-risking investors like us for today, they're de-risking for after they go IPO as well by building a really strong, responsible model which is aligned with the companies that they're actually selling to. So I think that's brilliant. Do you mind speaking a little bit to, I want to hit the future traction, where you see that going to. The million will take you to the Series A, but the Series A is what I want to look for. So as you see in 2023 and going forward, you get the Series A. What do you believe that will do to the revenue? How will it drive it up? How many customers? Just give us a flavor of what the company looks like from a liquidity perspective and from a revenue perspective, 2023, 2024, after you've taken that raise. And then just to put it in your mind, I want to finish it with you looking back. We're going to go forward 10 years, and then you're going to be interviewed in 10 years about what you created in the industry and the difference that you made. And I want to get just that statement of what that looks like. But before we get there, hit us with the traction and where the traction's going over the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the best way to think of our revenue model, especially because we have two products that are going to co-synchronous as far as the revenue and the margin sharing. We look at an individual restaurant location is about $600 of recurring revenue for us. That's not even including setup and things like that. Which is extraordinarily high. In food tech, if you can get $50 to $100 per restaurant per month, that is wonderful. The reason why ours is so much higher is because about 2/3 of that $600, so 400 to 600, is actually paid to us from our delivery partner as flow through MRR transaction stuff.
Wow.
So it's not even coming from the back of the restaurant. It's coming from the process itself. So at $600 per restaurant, a 100 restaurant chain for us is $60,000 a month recurring. It's tremendous. And some of the chains that we have in the pipeline today, the ones that we've already signed are kind of 15 to 10 units and below, certainly good stuff. But really our goal is the 500, 600 unit chains, the Red Lobsters of the world, the Village Inns, Denny's, Applebee's, people that have huge places that have revenue that can keep the lights on, but really hyper profitability comes through running additional virtual brands and then monetizing the savings on those marketplace deliveries. And so really 2023, especially with the funding that we bring in and having the team to not only sell it, launch it, and then manage that account going forward, we'll start 2023 on about a $1.5 to $2 million run rate. We'll finish it on about an $8 to $9 million run rate. And we could do it through, a big handful of 50 unit chains, or in our pipeline today, we've got three chains that have to have a solution. They're public companies. They are dying to get more revenue. And there's no really other option to do it than taking a solution like ours. So we feel bullish about that. Getting any one of those is a massive amount of next year's revenue. So that's just one prospect of our revenue forecast that we feel really strong with right now, in these big swaths of really brands that people have known and loved for many, many years. They will go away if they do not get more revenue. They're in long 10-year leases, 15-year leases. They need more revenue. The second really is coming through our channel partnerships. We've got a partnership with a concessionaire company that it has really deep connections into the Sodexos of the world, Elior, Delaware North. They are bringing us not only into that business and industry market for utilizing virtual brands and this technology to get to people, but also they're doing a bunch of governmental things to get food delivered via virtual brands and existing kitchens to inner city kids that need food delivered for breakfast, for lunch, and things like that. So that's another huge one. And then we've also inked a deal. Unfortunately, it won't start till Q4 or really Q1 of next year. But there's a Fortune 100 convenience store company that is launching a massive marketplace solution, and they've greenlighted us as the middleware layer of that. And so right now it's kind of 2022 is the calm before the storm. We'll end this year with some really respectable revenue, but we're going to be in growth mode. If we end this year and I'm throwing off cash each month, I'm doing something wrong. We have got to take market share, and at the nature of both of them are SaaS products. So I mean, I'm going to have the pedal down as fast as I can scale the people, because if I can bring in 100, 200 unit chains, that's, we don't have to leave our office to launch them too, which is great. So that's really the goal. And 2023 is our jumping off year. And that's the, hey, let's go to the moon or get gobbled up by somebody else. That's what 2023 will be.
I love it. You heard it here, people. That's where it goes. And for investors that are looking at this, the same as ourselves, like you can see the price or imagine the price that it would be at today, but you also know where it's going to be with a Series A. Anything which is a 5 to a 10 million round of the Series A is not going to be less than a 40 million valuation. So right now there's an opportunity, and everybody should be connecting with Randy to see exactly what that opportunity is and to see what value you can add. And I can tell you, with a lot of the conversations going on, it will be difficult to get into this round unless you add something to the equation beyond the money. But Randy, give us your contact details so that folks can connect with you directly. And then I would love to get the answer to that final question about your looking back of what you achieved over 10 years, the impact that it had on an entire industry, what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So contact information, Randy at FourBurnerTech.com. And that's FourBurnerTech, FourBurnerTech.com. And drop me a line, 512-796-1793. And, Brian, I think a lot about, where I want to be in 10 years and what we've done to the industry. For me, it's a lot of it is kind of my third career, right? First career was technology. Second career was restaurants. And I feel thankful enough to actually have a third career in the combination of the first two careers I have, technology now for restaurants, but especially the camaraderie and the brotherhood. I only got into restaurants because I put myself through college working in restaurants and bars, and I got the fire and the flavor of the team, and the hair on fire, and the being able to look after a really tough shift and go, man, we knocked it out of the park, or hey, we got our butts handed to us. That's a really satisfying thing, and in 10 years from now, we build a massive company, and whether we take it all the way to a $1 billion valuation, or we're just a big cog in a bigger company that takes us to that for a variety of reasons, whether it's a strategic or a software company or point of sale company, I'm going to look back and I'm going to feel really proud of the fact that not only were we able to return investor capital with a very good premium, but most importantly, we have a direct effect on tens of thousands of people that have every penny they own invested in their business, which is a restaurant, and they can't get out of it. And if I know that we gave some people an exit, or made their life easier, or made them more money to be able to stay in business or to exit their business, and then translate that to, hey, what about that neighborhood that was still able to go to that restaurant they love? Those kids that, hey, I remember going to your restaurant since I was a little kid, and you're still there, right? And a lot of these places, these are families that own those restaurants. Even if it's a large chain, that location is owned by a family that probably lives in that neighborhood. And so I love the cascading effect that we can create over a decade of how many people we can touch. And because it's such a community of the business model that we have. So, it's a B2B to C, but it trickles to, generations over time. And so that's what I'll look back on and be really happy about, that we know we had maybe a really small place in by then $1 trillion industry that's still around.
Yeah. And you will have given control back to the people who deserve it for their own destiny. And that's a beautiful thing, because they don't have it right now. Randy, I want to thank you for being a part of the dojo, for allowing us to come with you on the journey. We're looking forward to investing a ton of money into you in the future. We're going to be passing it around to our investors as well. Anybody here who would like to dig further into the company, either call Randy or call myself, Brian at expertdojo.com. Reach out to me and I'll happily jump on a call with you, and just keep on building this machine. It's a beautiful thing.